great for if you.
And I was like, nope.
You said no?
I'm just kidding. Oh shit. Well, camera's fine, but broke my stand. Oh, I wasn't in the way of it. But
Yeah, babe, you need to be careful.
you don't say that to me.
Set it, I've already been setted.
alright, so as you can tell, or maybe not tell, this is not an open diff. This is definitely an LSD, and I'm super surprised because I don't know how I didn't catch that. I needed to open it up anyways because it was leaking a little bit. He used that OEM style like gasket, the paper style gasket, which I'm not a big fan of. They always tend to leak over time. And I like to use the silicone one. So as long as you apply it correctly, I feel like the silicone one is a little bit more solid as far as preventing leaks. But yeah, so I don't know, because it doesn't look like an S15 helical design, so I'm not sure which diff this is. I was gonna weld it with some diff plates, like the locking plates that kind of embed themselves into the spider gears, but yeah, lo and behold, she already has LSD. So I'm gonna clean this up and reseal it, and then torque it down. But yeah, saves me some time for sure. Alright, so I got the RTV on, and then You're supposed to just finger tight, just secure all the bolts, but just finger tight for the first hour, so that way it has time for the silicone to harden a little bit, and then you torque it down. I think the diff bolts are 40 pounds, so don't go too crazy because this can break. Alright, so this is what it should look like. If you look, there's not like too much, and it's not just completely oozing out for the most part. But again, this is just finger tight, and I'll torque it here in about an hour. Alright guys, so new day. The differential has been sealed up, and the actual gasket maker has been cured. It's been about almost 2 days now. So I'm gonna fill this up with fluid. I do tend to like to run the Redline MT90. I run that as well as in the transmission. So before I put that in though, I do want to replace the hub bearings. So since the diff is out and the axles are free, well, technically I have to remove it from here, but it'll make it a lot easier to remove the hub bearings. So we'll do that before putting the differential back in, and these are the replacements. So alright, so while I still have access to the e-brake, since it's a stock e-brake, so it's just a cable, I'm gonna lock this up so that way I can remove the axle bolt, and then I can just pull the axle from the back since there's no diff there. And then we'll go ahead and all I need to do is remove the brake caliper so this rotor can come off, and then I'll have access to the 4 bolts in the back. Alright, just make sure not to lose your cotter pin because you'll reuse that. This is a 36 millimeter. Fortunately, I don't have my impact socket for that, but it should work. I don't know if that was torqued down because that was kind of easy. But now I should be able to push the axle all the way through, so I'll take that out. Alright, axle's out. Just visually inspecting it just to make sure it's not leaking anywhere. This one looks fine. Like I said, it was actually super loose coming out, so I'll make sure to torque that. But anyways, I'm gonna release the e-brake, remove that caliper so we can get behind, remove the rotor and get behind the actual hub. There should be 4 bolts in the back. Alright, I was able to get the rotor off by just swinging this out, but if you look, this is definitely the culprit. You should not be able to move this like that. So I'm happy to replace this, so let's get that off. So the bolts will be actually back here. If you notice, you'll see the 4 right here, so let's get that out. All 4 bolts out. This should just where's my, this should come off. There we go. Oh. All right. Yep, that's toast. Looks like the seal, outer seal failed. Maybe got some water and dirt in there. Get this right here. So that probably came loose and got a whole bunch of contaminants inside, and that was it. So I think that's an OEM one still. I could be wrong. I don't know. But I'm gonna clean one of these up and pop that on. Alright, so both sides are done. The other passenger side was actually not bad. That's this side. This side was like still pretty good. Probably could be reused, but I was thinking probably could be reused, but I figured might as well replace it, so that way I have the peace of mind that it is replaced with a new one. And maybe this one could be rebuilt. But yeah, so anyways, now I'm gonna fill up the diff and probably clean up the axles a little bit, just so in case it starts to leak or something happens, it's easier to distinguish when it's not all crusty already. And as far as the diff, I like to fill the fluids before putting it in, just because it's kind of a pain in these cars to get access to the side, the fill bolt. So I'm just gonna make sure that this is level, and then make sure this is tight, and fill it up before I place it in the car. Alright, that should be about it. So it's about maybe one full quart, maybe like a fourth of another one. So looks like it's starting to drip. I'll try a little bit more. But yeah, once it's level with that, it should just drip out, and then you're able to seal it, and we should be able to put it in. Alright, so I just gave the axles a little wash here. This one just looks like it's newer, but I don't know. Like I said, I like to wash these up, clean them up from grease, just so that way if they do start to leak, it'll be a lot easier to spot. Not necessarily this leaking, but anything leaking, even the diff, because these you will know when they're leaking, because they will throw up a lot of grease. So okay, so now I just gotta remember, I know one side is longer. I believe the passenger side is the longer side, but I'll have to look it up. I like to mount these and kind of put them in the right area before actually installing them, so that's easier to put the diff in. Okay, so before we put this in, I remember the previous owner installed some solid diff bushings, which I'm not a big fan of, like super solid diff bushings, just so you know there's some play in there and you don't hear a bunch of clunk noises just from it just being so harsh. It already does have solid subframe bushings, which is nice. I like that. But as far as the diff, I went with the polyurethane energy suspension. If you look, this is the part number if you're interested. But yeah, I'm gonna put these in instead, and we'll kind of work our way up with the axles. Alright, just so we'll get a heads up of how this is installed. So these ones are the top bushings, so these will slide right on top like so. We'll press that down all the way, obviously, and then the lower portion, you'll have the lower sleeve or washer, and then this will, the actual pin, or what do you call it, bolt sleeve, will go through here. And it does come with some grease to make it easy to install. Okay, so let me do that really quick. Alright, so everything's back on. It was such a pain to get that diff back where it was supposed to sit, just because if you look at my exhaust, completely tore up now. Well, just scratched. So I'm just gonna put some like sand it down and put some high temp down just to cover that up. But everything's in, everything's tightened up. Poly bushings are in. It does come with a cap on this side, but my washer isn't big enough to keep it on, so I'm gonna find a washer that will work with those end caps. Not a huge deal, but it might be nice to have a little more of the polyurethane bushing being pressed into there. But everything's all tightened up. Make sure you put your breather, I don't know if you can see it there, the breather hose I'm gonna put the clamp on and also your ground. And if you notice, I did put my drive shaft in finally, so that's all nice and in there. I got this from I think Raw Brokerage. Pretty good deal during Black Friday last year, so that's in there now. I don't know if I can focus up there. There you go. So that's in there. I also made sure to test the play because you definitely want a little bit of play here, and they have several options for the RB25. But if you look all the way in, I have about ½ an inch or so of play, which is perfect because this one piece isn't gonna flex too much and everything's all solid mounted, so you're not gonna see a lot of movement on this. But oops. But yeah, so I'm gonna put the bolts on this so that I can secure that, and everything underneath is pretty much ready. Now I can actually put fluid in my transmission. I didn't want to put anything in because I didn't want it leaking out of here. So, and fluid's already in the diff. I'm gonna re-tighten up. I'm gonna re-secure the fill tube and the drain just to make sure we don't get any leaks there. Yeah, we're almost there. And I do have new hardware for the drive shaft. So this is the part number. I don't know if it's all, because it comes with the washers too, the lock washers. So I don't know if that's all one part number, but I think when I ordered it, that's how it came. So all right, just a last look up here. Everything's pretty much buttoned up. Got the drive shaft bolted in, and I threw a little bit of a high temp. Obviously it doesn't match, but, and this is still drying right here, but I'd rather have a coating on there so that it's not exposing the bare metal. But yeah, everything's all tightened down and almost ready to go.